We'll open up the questions for Coach Huggins. First one goes to Greg Hunter.
So, Bob, just start with Oklahoma and what you see from them. Anything different than what you saw out of them in, I guess, month and a half ago?
No, not really. They run great offense. I think Lon's a master at getting people isolated and getting the matchups that he wants. So I mean, they're so good at it. Why would you change?
Next is Jared Siri.
Hey, Bob, I just wanted to check in on Taz Sherman. Do you have an update on his status? And if he plays tomorrow, what do you hope to get out of him?
I don't have any idea. I've had a morning of running around everywhere. So I haven't talked to Taz yet.
Go ahead, Justin Jackson.
Hey, Coach, over the years, you've always spoke highly of Coach Kruger and what he does offensively.
Uh-huh.
Would you say he's maybe one of the best, if not the best offensive coach in the Big 12?
Justin, he's really, really good. This league is full of really good coaches. Really good coaches. When you think that 6 guys have taken teams to the Final Four, and at least half or more than half of those multiple Final Fours, it's hard to pick out and say who's best and who's not, because they're all good.
We'll go to Charles Montgomery.
Coach, the normal big name player for OU has been for a while Brady Manick, but Davion Harmon has really stepped up for them over the last 6 games or so. Can you talk about the impact he's had for them and how you prepare for him tomorrow?
Well, Gibson's the one who stepped up against us. And really Gibson has been, he is without a question their best shooter. Lon's has the luxury of putting a lot of guys out there who could shoot the ball. So I don't know that you can say we're definitely going to guard this guy or that guy. For years, everybody talked about Manick being, everybody compared him to Larry Bird. They've got guys. They've got guys who can make shots. We've got to do a great job of guarding our guy. Don't worry about the rest of them. Let's just guard the guy that we're supposed to guard.
Hey, Coach, got a question submitted to us by Bob Herzl. Jordan, a moment ago, just said that yesterday's practice was a tough one for the guys. How do you decide when to turn up the heat there, and how different of a practice is it when you decide to do so?
Well, I would beg to differ with Jordan. We were in the film room for an hour and a half. So I don't know. I don't find that all that taxing, sitting on your ass in the film room. So that was an hour and a half. So, and then we came out and they were predictably very lackluster after sitting there for an hour and a half. So he must have been talking about how hard it was on me to watch them yesterday, not vice versa.
Let's go to Mike Zaza.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Good, Mike.
I have a question for you, just strategy, philosophy. Just curious, when a guy gets 2 fouls for you in the first half, is it automatic that he's out for the rest of the half? Is it situational? That I don't know. It seems like there's debate on that because people can't agree on anything, I guess. But where do you stand on 2 fouls and what to do there?
I think it's situational. I wouldn't or haven't automatically yanked a guy with 2 fouls. Depends on a lot of things. Flow of the game, what they're trying to do, a lot of things.
Skylar Callahan, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, obviously every league in this game is important, but does this one seem any bigger considering, the circumstances with Oklahoma having already beat you guys once and just positioning for the conference tournament?
Well, we obviously want to beat everybody in the league. We're solidly in second place right now, and certainly want to finish as high as we possibly can for not just the conference tournament, for the NCAA tournament. And we're going to play nothing but quality teams from here on out. So, I mean, the more quality teams we beat, the higher our seed's going to be. I think we're certainly playing for seeds in both the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament right now.
Go ahead, Greg Hunter.
Bob, also going off of something Jordan was talking about, I asked him about, not being able to be a normal college student in this year, and how they just, have to stay together. And he said, you have to do what you got to do. Can you sympathize with what the players are going through and the sacrifices they're making to be able to play this year?
Well, we talked about it when all this started. We talked about it, and talked about how we have to do the right things, and we can't give in to temptation to go be a normal college student. When this first started, downtown was still jumping pretty good, and we talked a lot about it, and I think they understand because of what happened a year ago. I mean, we were really starting to play well, I thought, and then all of a sudden, our season's over with. We're getting ready to go play the first game of the conference tournament, and when Shane came in and said they'd called it off, and then right after that called off the NCAA tournament, so they realize what's at stake.
Sam Caniglio, and then go back to Justin.
Coach, Jordan also emphasized the importance of preventing complacency after a top 10 win on the road. What as a coach can you do to kind of prevent that from festering?
Continue to talk to them about this could be taken away from us at any time, and we found that out a year ago. So knowing that it could be taken away from us today or tomorrow or a week from now, why wouldn't you give it everything that you possibly can give it, as long as we at least know that we're going to be able to play? And it wasn't fun, guys. Last year wasn't fun. It wasn't fun to whenever they take away everything that you've worked for the whole season. And again, we were just starting to really come into our own and play well. They were very young a year ago, and I just don't know why you wouldn't give it everything you have. And then I think we've as a staff tried to share with them that I know when my season ended, my senior year, you get back from class, you put your gear on, you get your ball, and you get to run over to the Coliseum and try to get some shots up and work on your game. And then you say, why? It's over. Your career's done. You have to kind of shift gears and do something else. And it's not pleasant. And you try to share that with them as best you possibly can.
Go ahead, Justin.
Coach, after the first game against Oklahoma this year, you had talked about, Oklahoma, they had doubled him and kind of frustrated, talking about Derek here. They had kind of frustrated him and cutting him off while he's running down the floor, and, just little things here and there to try to get in his head. Do you bring that up to him at all? as a motivational, or just casually bring it up, or what kind of effort and return here do you expect from Derek in this game?
Believe me, Justin, Derek remembers.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I just talked to the television announcers who by chance had the first game, and they brought it up, and the first 10 minutes of the conversation was about just that. So I think we're all aware of what happened.
And then obviously after this game, you got a little bit of a void until the following Saturday. Any chance that another game might get thrown in there at all, or anything that you guys can look at or do?
Well, it's not up to us, obviously. We're kind of like everybody else. We kind of sit here and wait and wonder what's going to happen. That would be nice instead of, having everything all jammed up at the end, but there's a lot of factors involved. It's, if it was just us and another team, it'd be one thing, but it's not. And you've got, you've got a lot of people have played, like, we've played some people twice. So obviously we can't play them again. Other people have played people twice. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of factors that you don't really think about as much until they happen to you. And then you think a heck of a lot more about them, but we don't have any control, no control whatsoever. It's a frustrating thing to not have control.
Sorry, Coach. Go ahead, John Antonic.
Along those lines, I just read where Baylor's not confident they're going to finish their conference schedule. You don't even have a choice over who you got to play left. I mean, you're going to have whatever postponed games. Maybe it's Baylor, maybe it's TCU, maybe it's Oklahoma State. Is that frustrating?
I think you learn to live with it, John. I mean, think about it. We were set to play non-conference games, and they canceled. And then Josh is on the phone, till all hours of the night trying to find somebody else to substitute into play. This isn't the start of this. This has been going on since the beginning of the season. It's just we had more control, quite frankly, of it in the beginning of the season than what we do in a conference season.
Yeah. I mean, you could have a conference champion that doesn't play all of the teams.
Well, that's for the conference to decide.
Yeah.
I think the conference is going to have to make a decision on that. It certainly won't be the basketball coaches. I mean, it could be the presidents or the ADs or just the conference commissioner, but it definitely won't be us.
Mike Zaza.
Bob, going back to Justin's question on Derek, he's had unusual games against Oklahoma throughout his career, not really up to his standard. Was that maybe relative to where he was at different times in his career, maybe as recently as January? And is he, I guess I should say, how is he maybe more suited to handle and to shrug those things off now?
Quite frankly, it's hard to shrug some of that stuff off. I mean, it's to think that it doesn't get in somebody's head, or you want to. I think the hard thing is not to react to it. And I think he did a really, under the circumstances, a marvelous job of not reacting to it. Because he knew what was at stake.
Anything else for Coach? Hey, Coach, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great day.